Okay, so we've got a couple updates. Where have we been? So we're in the process right now of selling our home. So we've been doing some maintenance upgrades, and it's just been really kind of busy, so I haven't had time to do any videos. But we decided that we're going to sell and we're going to live in the van for a little bit. Not permanent, but we're going to head back east. Most of our family is back there, and grandkids, so that's where we want to be. So a couple of updates that I've done to the van. Okay, so the first thing we installed was this Geyser Systems full hose kit. So they come in a full kit, a half kit, and then they also have little containers that are probably about this tall, and they come in two versions of that. One has a built-in heater, and the other has no heater, but you can just put hot water in it. So the way that it works, make sure my pump is on. You turn on the water, and so it has this little low-flow nozzle in here, and then you just kind of squeeze it when you want water. And then you can put soap on here and lather up with it. There's a valve here that controls how fast the water flows. And then this is a diverter that diverts it up to the shower head up here. So the half version, this is what it looks like. So you would take your new sponge and you just insert it into this little section there. And then when you want to take it out, you just squeeze the sides of the sponge and pull it out. So they come with 3 sponges. So you can have one for washing, one for rinsing, and maybe one for a different partner or whatever. So the first one, it has a diverter valve on here where you can split between your handheld and the hose itself. They have a slightly cheaper one that just replaces the handheld altogether, so it's just the sponge. So we want this because my wife needs to wash her hair, and it's better to have this kind of shower than to use this thing. But this controls the flow, how much water goes into the sponge. So it's up against the wall here, so my valve here is not optimal, but it's low enough to where it saves us on water flow. But they say you can shower with about 1 gallon of water with this thing, and it works really well. We tried it on our last trip, and it's very easy in this confined space because it's hard sometimes to get the wand like behind me, without bumping into the shower wall. But the sponge is much easier, and then you just squeeze it when you want to rinse. This kit, when I bought it, it was cheaper, but right now I think it's like $117 for this particular one. The one that attaches directly and replaces your wand is about $90. The unheated kit that contains the hose and the tank is $279, and the one with the built-in heater, 12-volt DC heater, that's $349. And like I said, they claim that you can do your complete shower in just 1 gallon of water, so it's a real good RV solution. So the other thing that I installed was a tank heater for my gray tank. And the reason I did that is because on our trip in 2022, this happened. This is in Tennessee, near Nashville. The nights have been pretty cold. It gets down to about 25 degrees, and so far it's been okay inside the van. But tonight, it's supposed to get down to -1. So it's going to be interesting to see how cold it actually gets in the van. Alright, so last night we got hit with the storm. You can see it's cold because even inside my window here, there's ice on the frame. We got about 1 inch of snow here, but it got down to -4. And we elected to leave the Promaster running all night on low. So it was like one of its lowest settings, and it stayed about 55 degrees in here. This morning we turned it up, and now it's 58. But it's still 4 degrees or -4 degrees outside. I think our pipes did freeze, even though they're inside. There's a little bit in there, but I think the back compartment back where the water pump is, there's no heat going to it, so it must just be really cold in there. So we'll just take a hair dryer and heat up that area to get everything working again, and then I may drain it. This was just a test, and it is PEX, and PEX is much more forgiving for frozen pipes. So yeah, that's the status. So the other thing that happened was my gray tank, which is down below here, froze over. It was frozen solid, and then this pipe also leading up to the ball valve. So what I did is I took some heating wire, DC heating wire, and I wrapped it around this pipe, and then I wrapped it with insulation to go around over top of that to kind of hold it in place. And then on the main tank, I don't know if you can see that or not, but I put a heating pad. It's a self-adhesive heating pad on the bottom of the tank there. And those are 12 volt. According to the label on it, it only draws 15 watts. So it's not very heavy draw. And so I just have it hooked up to one of my switches on the wall there, the middle switch. And I figure when it gets down to freezing temperatures, I'll just flip that switch on and let it keep it somewhat warm. And then I don't have it automated with like a thermostat. It does have its own built-in thermostat, so that it won't go above like 65 degrees, I think. But I'll just kind of put it on and monitor it, because we don't really intend to be a 4-season van. I don't really like driving in snow, so I try and limit it to where we're not stuck in that kind of weather if possible. But we were at my son's house, so. And the other thing we added was this little pipe up there. It's just a 4-inch ABS drain pipe, and it has a cap on it, a screw-on cap, so that you just unscrew that and that opens it up. And we have an outdoor rug in there. And then the brackets themselves, I 3D printed those, so I made them in Fusion 360, and then 3D printed them. Kind of see that's the top. I like the bottom when it 3D prints. I like what's flat on the surface, because it has like a hammered look to it. But it's a tube. It gives me enough storage for a rug. So we had it originally back there, and every time you open up the doors, you had to take the rug out because it was kind of burdensome. It's not very much storage. It's not as much as I thought it was going to be. So it is kind of a tight fit, even for a 4x6 rug. But it might be an option too if you wanted to make your own hot water tank, solar hot water, where you just fill it up, and this would mount to the top of your 8020. I'll probably put it up on Thingiverse if anybody wants to print it. I'm actually thinking about trying to make these caps and making those a 3D printable thing as well, because the issue with those is that they're really expensive. That screw-in cap is like 20 bucks just by itself, and that's not including the part that screws in. The 3D print was pretty easy. It took about 12 hours to print each one, because it's PETG. So PETG is a little more tolerant of outdoor environment than PLA. PLA can melt if it gets too hot. PETG will as well, but I doubt it would get that hot. But we'll see, and we'll keep an eye on it.